Good evening, everybody. I would like to turn this next bit over to Lori for a motion.
So as per section 17 of the council procedural bylaw, and with the absence of the mayor, Reeve Keith Watt will be appointed to chair the September 10th, 2024 committee and council meeting. So we need a mover and a seconder.
Is there a mover and a seconder? Moved by Brian Hughley, second by Betty King. All in favor?
I'll just go ahead and read it. Just moved by Councillor Hughley, seconded by Councillor King, that as per section 17 of the council procedure bylaw, and with the absence of the mayor, Reeve Keith Watt will be appointed chair to the September 10th, 2024 council committee meeting.
All in favor? Okay, call the meeting of council and committee to order at this time, 5:30, September the 10th. Is there a motion, please, for that? Moved by Wendy, second by Alan, please. All in favor? Carried.
Okay, I'll just read it again. Moved by Councillor Hewitt and seconded by Councillor Wren, that the council and committee meeting of September 10th, 2024 be called to order at 5:30 p.m.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Bennett, Reeve Watt,
Present.
Councillor Gauthier-Keel,
Present.
Councillor Hewitt,
Present.
Councillor Hughley,
Present.
Councillor King,
Present.
Councillor Wren.
Present.
All members present except Mayor Bennett for the September 10th, 2024 council committee meeting.
You've all received your agenda. Is there a motion to approve that agenda? Moved by Alan, second by Jen.
Moved by Councillor Wren, seconded by Councillor Gauthier-Keel, that the agenda of the council and committee meeting of September 10th, 2024 be approved as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we'll move on. No delegations tonight. Planning emergency services. Lori?
Oh, okay, you need a mover and a seconder.
Okay. Motion to open up. Moved by Councillor Hughley, second by Councillor Gauthier-Keel.
Moved by Councillor Hughley, seconded by Councillor Gauthier-Keel, that the council of the Township of Laurentian Valley, pursuant to section 34 of the Planning Act, hereby declare a public meeting open at 5:34 p.m. to discuss zoning bylaw amendment files number Z 2024-08 Felsky. All in favor?
All in favor? Carried.
Okay, yes, so we do have one application before us tonight, application file Z 2024-08. So it was a combined notice issued of the application and also notice of this public meeting, and it was prepared and issued in accordance with the requirements of the Planning Act. So the purpose and effect of the amendment is to permit the installation or construction of 4 shipping containers, or otherwise known as sea cans, to be used for commercial storage as a warehouse, and to provide for a reduction in the minimum 22-meter setback to 20 meters for the lot line abutting an open space zone. The effect of the amendment is to establish a general industrial exception 12 GME 12 zone with special provision to permit 4 shipping containers for commercial storage as a warehouse for a business not located on the property, and to establish a minimum side yard width for the shipping containers sea cans abutting the open space zone of 20 meters. The subject lands would also then be rezoned from general industrial to general industrial exception 12. So the lands affected by the amendment are located on TV Tower Road, on lands described as Part Block I, Judges Plan 366, and Part Lot 32, Concession 1, Geographic Township of Stafford in the Township of Laurentian Valley. Again, copies of all the material related to the amendment are available for inspection at the Township office, and can be made available by a special arrangement if a call is made as well. There is some information as well posted on the Township website. Again, any person can participate in this public meeting and make written or verbal representation either in support of or opposition to the proposed amendment. Again, everyone is strongly encouraged to make those comments either verbally or in writing, or to follow up in writing as well. And again, with this, if you do wish to be notified of a decision of council on this application, you must make a request in writing to the Township of Laurentian Valley, to my care, and also if you are present in the in the Township Council chambers tonight and wish to sign in, there is a sign-in sheet as well that will be circulated if you wish to sign in to receive notice. And again, if a person or public body who would otherwise have an ability to appeal the decision of the Township of Laurentian Valley to the Ontario Land Tribunal doesn't make a written or oral submission prior to decision being made, they may not be able to be appealed. I just also want to remind people as well too that the list of people who are eligible to appeal has been scoped, and to consult the Planning Act for that as well. But again, the encouragement is to make your any comments to be brought to the attention of council prior to a decision. And again, this is a public process, so anybody who does provide their name or comments or information, it does all form part of the public record and will be made available as required or as deemed necessary as part of the planning process. And the notices were issued on the 21st day of August, 2024. So I did also circulate to council. We did receive two different letters in from property owners abutting to the northwest, northeast. So one was just making a comment related to the nature of the use and that they ran a mini storage business and were opposing the amendment on that ground. And then the other comment was just, again, concern with regard to ensuring that the rules were followed and related to survey on property lines abutting. And again, for the full comments, council has been circulated those to have read prior to the meeting, and also if any member of the public wishes to view, they can come to view them in the part of the public file. And I believe our deputy treasurer's, deputy clerk is just going to confirm if there's anybody on the line.
There's no one online.
Okay.
Any questions? Alan?
So just a question and a comment. So my question, and I see the fire chief is here. As per our bylaw, is it 36 inches, the spacing between, As per our bylaw, is it 36 inches between the containers? I thought by our bylaw it was more than that, but I could be wrong.
Okay, yes, just as a follow-up, I did note with my report as well, so the sketch that was provided is just a sketch for the zoning. As far as through the site plan process, the actual siting of those trailers will be required to meet the bylaw, and it isn't actually the zoning bylaw, it's actually set out in our licensing bylaw, and it is 5 meters. So they will have to be readjusted to locate.
So that's going to change the side yards on both sides then, if they have to be
Well,
5 meters apart?
There's room within the property to locate those with the requested amendment to the 20 meters to still arrange the 4 containers to meet those.
Okay. And so I guess then my comment is these containers are already there prior to us passing this. So there's no recourse then for somebody to have just put them there and not apply for any kind of
Well, okay, so the recourse is that there is a process that they still do have to follow. Again, the opportunity is there for someone who does place something to apply to have those approved. However, what I do say for council in making the decision, you always would consider as if they are not there and whether or not the use is appropriate, regardless of the fact that they're placed. So it shouldn't provide any advantage, the fact that they're already sitting there, because should this process be that council does not approve, or should some part of the process be that it's appealed and that this approval does not come into place, then they would be required to completely remove those. In the interim, again, the way the process has worked typically is if it's working towards a process, we see how that plays out. However, there will be the full requirements to follow, which is, again, getting the zoning in place, then site plan approval, entrance approvals, building permits, and licenses under the licensing bylaw. So that full gamut does have to be followed.
Any other questions? Brian?
Is there no way that they're able to put the cans on the property without getting some variances for the size of the property? The sketch here isn't to scale, but when you see the property, it's pretty much a full triangle. And is this step one of, are they looking to put another building in front of it, and that's why they're trying to push them back that far? Or what's the final intent on all of this?
At this time, the property owner has not necessarily indicated that they would be building a building. That remains something that could be an opportunity potentially in the future, again, meeting the setbacks. Unfortunately, they did advise that they weren't able to attend tonight, so they're not here to speak beyond that. In terms of whether there might be that opportunity to readjust them, it is a triangle, so, whether that side yard, the one thing I do say is by having that reduction in the side yard, it does keep, potentially it shifted a little bit away from where I do understand they are not currently entered into any agreements for the use of the former trail, but, it does leave that as that part not used at this point in time. Again, my understanding at this point in time is that they are not interested in entertaining any kind of access through for a trail, as was, indicated. One of the comments made in the letter by the other neighbor is that the trail actually goes around the property currently, but it leaves that option. Again, from a planning perspective, in terms of the type of use, for the rationale with the reduction from 22 meters to 20 meters, that setback is put in place on the basis of really industrial uses, which aren't storage in nature, because of noise and other types of things you might have in an industrial operation. So from a planning perspective, I don't necessarily have an issue with that reduction from 22 to 20 meters specifically for a storage use. And it is the cemetery, property that it still would require under the licensing bylaw that there would also be screening from view required. And some of that may already be able to be captured with the existing hedges, but if there's additional greens to be required, that will be required through that site plan process as well.
Any other questions? Lori, I have one. Do you respond to the two letters, or the recipients of the two letters, regarding their complaint or concern with this?
At this point in time, basically, when the comments are put forward, I bring them forward for council's consideration as part of the decision, that if there's something that's applicable through that process. So the one letter is just strictly saying that they object, so that is, acknowledged, that, provided that to council that they've stated that the nature of their business is a mini storage and that they object to this application. So, it's just a statement of their position. And then with the other, it really are comments that are related to the trail and the use of the trail on the other property. So it's not necessarily things that are pertinent to whether or not this use of the property is appropriate. And so in terms of, again, understood that expressing concerns about the owner following the process and rules. So, once, when council makes a decision, we will provide some further information back to this property owner on the next kind of steps as well.
Okay, thank you. So the motion was to approve. Mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Gauthier, seconder by Councillor Wren. All in favor?
Okay, I'll just read it through. Moved by Councillor Gauthier Keel, seconded by Councillor Wren, that the council and committee approves application for zoning bylaw amendment file number Z 2024-08 Falski, and recommends that council forward the draft bylaw as presented to the bylaw portion of the regular council meeting of September 24th, 2024 for enactment.
Okay, I jumped ahead there. All in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn the planning meeting section by Councillor Hewitt and the second by Councillor King.
Moved by Councillor Hewitt, seconded by Councillor King, that the council of the Township of Laurentian Valley hereby declare the public meeting of September 10th, 2024 be adjourned at 5:46 p.m.
All approve. Carried. So under information, there's a letter there from Minister Calandra regarding the provincial policy statement, which is no more, and it now becomes the provincial planning statement. From what I read, and maybe Laurie can improve on it, but most of this refers to Toronto, Greater Toronto Area, the Golden Horseshoe. Although there are changes here, it's more for the fast-growing pace or the fast-growing municipalities as opposed to more rural.
There is a broader mix. So part of what the new provincial planning statements have done, though, is merge together the growth plans with the provincial policy statement. So there's one document instead of two separate. Now there are things that, though, and again, I qualify that with we still have not been yet provided with training. Municipal Affairs is only still in the process of developing the training for their own staff on the implementation of the new PPS, so we'll be forthcoming as well, and it's unfortunate that that isn't kind of set out ahead of them releasing this, but we will get some more training before October 20th, but one of the things that certainly will be newer for our areas to address are things like there are policies for agricultural systems, and that would be, the way we understand it, would be more led by the county level, but would engage the lower tiers as well too. And what that is, one of those things that would be looking at is kind of that integration of, it's not just about your farmlands, but it's the whole, you have a whole chain of infrastructure of types of businesses and things that are needed also to support agricultural operations, from whether it be slaughterhouses to processing and all of that, and that it's important to have, you know, that you're enabling the whole thing. So that's certainly something that's, you know, more rural in nature. And certainly, you know, some of the other things are streamlining and changing, and they're still actually looking at developing implementation guidelines for some of it. So it's where there's parts of it that may seemingly be to be Toronto focused, because it's that bringing back in some of those growth plan policies that are mixed in now, but with some of the other changes that they do also still relate to refinements related to your natural heritage areas and both urban and small rural, and, you know, some of this of that. But I will, you know, certainly as we are provided with more details, I will be sharing that out. And we've been provided, basically extended it a little bit. So there was, from the date that was released, about a 40-day period to provide any context or content back to the minister related to where we feel there's the need for transitional rules for certain things that are already in process.
Thank you. Under subcommittees, Pemberton Area Airport.
So our next meeting is next Thursday, but just to let everybody know that the airport did take possession from the town of Petawawa. We purchased a single axle plow truck and a front end loader. So just in the last couple of weeks, we took possession of both of those pieces of equipment.
Emergency management.
We will have our sector meeting is coming in October, and the other thing we're just waiting for further information to be released on is that there is the grant that will be available again this year, and the understanding is that communities that were not successful in the first time that they had the grant last year, it's only those that didn't receive in round one that will be eligible in round two, and this time there will actually be some sessions, is what we're understanding, as well, on some guidance on how to apply. So I know there were some, well, there were one or two communities within Renfrew County that did receive funding the first round. Most of us did not, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we had a bad application, just it was the uptick. So we'll see how this proceeds, and we'll be back to council with some information as that advances.
Okay, and under corporate services, business?
All right, thank you. So this report I'm bringing in preparation of our budget cycle, but the township has a, sorry, just gotta get there we go. The township has our compensation grid policy where the treasurer is to bring a report in December on the October CPI. I think when these policies were created, it was normal to have the budget in like Q1 of the year, right? So then that kind of made sense for timing purposes. But what I found last year was it really puts a time constraint or puts unnecessary time pressure on us because to get the October CPI, we actually have to wait into November, and we only have, and it's like second half of November, and really the budget is passed pretty early on or by the middle of December. So there's not a lot of time, and compensation, like the salary grid, is a big component of, you know, putting together the budget. So the one change here was to change when I bring that report. Really, it's just saying it'll be brought into the during the budget process. I'll bring the effect of the CPI, and I think it's the previous 7 years CPI that's been awarded. And then it's also changing the second part to make this really work is changing the October CPI to the September CPI, which would then become available in October. So that would really alleviate some time pressure and time constraint. And then a little bit further down in the financial implications, you'll see the differences, so that in those budget years, so the previous year October CPI would have been October CPI that became available in 2016. And versus what it would have been had it been September of 2016. And so there's 4 of those months where it was higher in October, 2 of the months it was higher in September, and 2 of the months it was identical. So I don't think there's a financial implication in making this change. The CPI number is based off of many macroeconomic factors. So I don't think there's one is better than the other. It's just simply for timing. So with that, I'll turn it back if there's any questions.
Any questions? Motion? Moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Hewitt.
Moved by Councillor King, seconded by Councillor Hewitt, that the Corporate Services and Protection Committee recommends council to amend compensation grid policy as presented and rename the policy to HRB 11 compensation grid.
All in favor? Carried. So we need a report motion for the grant request. Moved by Councillor Wren, second by Councillor Keel. Gauthier Keel.
Moved by Councillor Wren, seconded by Councillor Gauthier, that the Corporate Services and Protection Committee approve the grant request from the Mixburg Athletic Association. Questions?
Councillor Wren.
Just maybe a comment, and will we make sure that we let Mixburg know that they should have their requests in during the fall for our budget, so that they can start getting ready to have their request for the next year by the time we're doing a budget?
Yeah, we'll continue. I know Nevada has been speaking with them. Yeah, we're trying to get to mirror what our policy's saying. So we'll do our best. I think I found an old policy today. I think today or yesterday I was going through a folder and I was going to talk to Deputy Clerk about it. I found some older policy which actually lists out groups that we budget every year for. So we have to revisit that policy and bring that back, because it would help me kind of understand of what exactly They're supposed to happen when it's supposed to happen. So we'll definitely talk to them, and we have that request.
So I believe we changed that policy because every year we were just granting the money without
Okay.
any requests coming in. And so the question came up was, are they even asking for the money? And so we switched it to say, you need to make a request, and it needs to be during our budget process so that we know how much we're budgeting for each group and make our decisions from there. So I believe that's why
That's
we
probably what I
changed that
found.
policy
Yeah,
to
that's
what it
probably
is
what I
today.
found. So we'll make a note to put that out shortly.
Okay, so, Brittany? Yeah, any questions or information on the background of this? No? Okay, all in favor? Carried. There's a second one?
No, we're on to,
Fire,
chief.
Fire Department report. Tim, you're sitting back there, nice and enjoying it.
He's on mute.
You're on mute, Tim.
There, can you hear me now?
There we know.
There, you can hear me now? Okay, perfect. All right. It's been a busy summer for us, obviously, with the fire calls, but not only that, the fellows have, I shouldn't say that, the firefighters have got involved in several things, and I just want to, back in June, they sprayed the children and the staff during the one hot days in June, and they went out one day and sprayed them all with water, and everybody had lots of fun. Then we also set up a display for their Rockwood's fun night. When they had their fun night, we set up a display, of course, for Party in the Park, and then I had 6 firefighters compete in the Emergency and Protective Services United that we had in Petawawa this past weekend, so we were well representative, and it was turned out to be quite an event. So, and the next thing that's on the agenda is we're looking at setting up a junior firefighters training. So what it would be, a couple other departments have done it in the county, and what it would be children, well, not children, I guess teenagers from grade 10 to 18 years old. They register for, and be about approximately a 12-week thing. And they come in and they do one night they'll learn how to do ladders, and we would teach them things that firefighters do. And it's to create some interest for the young ones and give them an idea, and maybe down the road to help bring in some volunteers. But that is something that we're trying to put together. And once we get all the bugs and the insurances and everything taken care of, that's another one of our stands. So. Other than that, our calls are up 96 last August to 103, which is not bad really, but the big thing this year is that a lot of our calls have been major calls, and so not little calls, but major calls. So other than that, I think that's where everything stands.
Okay, so you had reports for June, July, and August there. Any questions
Yeah.
from staff, or council, sorry? Jennifer Gauthier.
Tim, do we, and I think probably someone's asked you this and I just forget the answer, do we give any kind of fines or anything for false alarms to recoup any of our costs for all those firefighters going out?
Yeah, once you have 3 false alarms, you get charged.
3 a year?
It's the bylaws, 3. So, yeah, that's there's a few there there's a couple there that are right on the edge. That's for sure. It's I know that's why I've tried to I've highlighted them all through the year actually. But yeah, it's 3 alarms, and then you get charged.
Any other questions for Tim? I guess you get off easy tonight, Tim.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
Next one is the animal control report that you have in your package. Questions, concerns? No. Now, there's a second one from the USPCA as well, a summer report that we had asked for. It is also there in your package. Betty?
Does that correlate with the animals that we picked up and dropped off there?
Yes.
The numbers match? I really didn't get a chance to take a look at that.
It does. Okay, moving on. Letter of thanks was received from the Multicultural Festival from the Pembroke Public Library Board. And anybody who attended certainly could see that a lot of work went into that and was very well received. Next on the list is our Deputy Clerk, Lori, has graduated from the AMCTO Diploma Administration, and congratulations. That was
With honor.
That's with honors, yes.
Good job, Lori.
Way to go.
Thank you.
Subcommittees, Festival Hall.
We just went through Fiddle Weekend, which was huge as always. And the minutes from our last session have been attached to the minutes, to the agenda, so if there's any questions.
Questions, concerns, Festival Hall? Okay. Pembroke Public Library.
We have not had any meeting yet this fall, so our first meeting will be the third Thursday of the month, so I'll be able to report next month.
Okay, thank you. Public Works and Property, the water report.
All right, thank you. I'm just going to go ahead to the analysis portion of my report. So just the E. coli, we were absent, which is a good sign. Total chloroforms were within the limits. HBCs, we had less than 2 to 154 CFUs per milliliter. So that's within the range or the limit. Residual chlorine, we were good on that. THAs, we were within the 4.4 average. So the way the trihalomethanes work is you average the last 4 quarters, and it has to be below like 0.1 milligram per liter. So we're underneath that. The HAAs was within limits as well. So in the second quarter of 2024, municipality paid Caducean, who's our laboratory techs, $1,871.34, HST included. For complaints, there were 2 complaints received in the second quarter. The first was a pink slime around drains, which we determined to be Serratia mercensis. It's an airborne bacteria that when it comes in contact with wet surfaces, it turns into a pink slime. So it's generally around the sink drains and such. The second was a call for brown water at the dead end street. So chlorine residuals were still up. All we did was we flushed the water system. At the same time, we got the resident to open up all their taps and flush all their toilets to get the chlorinated water back into the system. That seemed to fix the issue. We haven't got any more reports from that resident. Staff and training has stayed the same. Under maintenance, there was 106 locate requests completed in the second quarter, of which 49 identified water lines to be marked. The water service operators, we commissioned temporary water lines on Roy Street construction project, which is now coming to near completion. We also commissioned a new water line at Roy Street East. There was a new build there, and also at the new gas station going in on Pembroke Street East. So that was a good learning curve for all of us, and the guys came out on top with that one. So it was really, really good to see. Fire flow testing was completed within all the areas of Laurentian Valley Township, and you'll see now, or you might have noticed, some of our hydrants, we have colored rings on them now. So you really see them when you're driving at night. They really shine up, so it's good for the fire department as they're pulling up to utilize the hydrant. They know the different colors and how much gallons per minute that pumps out. So they know if they get a red, well, you're not going to have too much water there. But thank God we don't have any red hydrants in our area. Construction activities, like I said, continue on both Roy Street East and West, as well as the new gas station Pembroke Street East, as per the second quarter. In the second quarter, the waterworks purchased 13,339,920 gallons of water from the city of Pembroke, distributed to homes and businesses, and there were no adverse water quality events in the second quarter. Thank you.
So just before you go, the number of liters pumped then from the city this year compared to last year at this time?
Yeah, we're right on target. A little higher on the second quarter, but I mean, people are watering their lawns more, you know, so and it's summertime, so they're using a lot more water, but we're pretty much on par from what we were last year.
Okay. Any other questions on the report? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Community development. Oh, sorry, Ottawa Valley Waste Recovery. We have, the mayor is not here for his report. So community development, Seniors Active Living Fund.
Good evening, Council. So before us, we have a pretty exciting opportunity here from the province of Ontario to call for an expansion of Seniors Active Living programming. As you well know, we do have a group in our community who is providing pretty unique and very popular programming, as they're up to about 500 members now. So what this opportunity, as you can see in this, requires a contribution from the municipality of in-kind. And as mentioned in here, there are quite a few benefits to us as well in the township from a financial standpoint, so it truly is a win-win for everyone. But all that is in the report, so I won't go too much into detail, but this is a great opportunity for this group to have funding basically until the province continues to not legislate it, because it is legislated by law, which means that they would get this funding every year should we continue to apply for it. And so I'm hoping that council will support a motion to provide $10,880 in in-kind staff costs, which we're already providing to this group, and that we can claim that as revenue for this organization, as you can see in the budget, how that breaks down, as part of our 20%, and then the follow-up from them will be through memberships, through their bingo proceedings and other things that make up over 20%, so we're good for that. But the grant does require a motion of council to accept the in-kind contribution. And so I'm looking for council for a motion to approve that, so I can include that with the grant and then send it off. And as you can see, we've consulted quite a bit of people on it. It's been quite a bit of work, but I think it's going to be worth it in the long run for this group to take a lot of the stress off of the administrative side and focus on being fit and feisty.
So the motion, first, Councillor Hughley, seconded by Councillor Wren.
Moved by Councillor Hughley, seconded by Councillor Wren, that council in committee support the application for Seniors Active Living Center grant funding and direct staff to prepare the application to be submitted by the Township of Laurentian Valley in conjunction with the Laurentian Valley 50+ Fit and Feisty organization. And further, that council and committee recommends that council approve the in-kind contribution outlined in the report in the amount of $10,880 for staff time to be donated as part of the 20% contribution requirement of the funding program.
All in favor? Thank you. Carried. I think it's nothing but a win-win. Do you have a
I agree,
question, Alan?
yes.
Yeah, just to clarify, so the 10,880, that's an annual donation by the municipality, correct? Each year?
So the way that this grant works is that should we be approved, the program coordinator, Carmen Gould, will meet with us and we create an actual budget because we're going off a lot of estimations. And then yearly, we have the opportunity to change this based off of what we would like to do. And so it provides a great deal of flexibility for both partners to come in and say, this is what we want to do, this is what we don't want to do. But as it currently stands, we would not be giving the grant contribution, which would be saving the township, but we're giving the in-kind. But we could adjust that year to year. We could change however we want to do it. So it offers a tremendous amount of flexibility for both partners.
But there is a requirement each year that there's in-kind donation
Oh, sorry,
by
my
the
apologies.
municipality.
From all partners. So this, the way this grant works, it's they've changed the way that you can contribute. So it can be 20% from the municipality or any other partners. And so this in-kind is being calculated this year for that. But should the group maybe find some fundraising or don't, they could always change that as long as 20% comes from outside sources, which offers a lot of flexibility to the partners, which is a new thing for this year.
Any other question, discussion? Okay. We'll move on to the Community Development Officer report.
Okay, so it's been quite a busy summer in community development. Lots of exciting things going on. I won't go into all the details because you have that all in your report. But I'd like to flip it over to council if you have any questions or comments about the contents of my report.
Councillor Hewitt?
Not a question, just more of a comment. Just looking at the long list, he has been more than busy. I appreciate all the work that you're doing for us. There's been a lot going on and a lot of new businesses and grand openings, which is fantastic for our township.
Thank you.
And you hear that a lot on the street too, that this municipality is doing a ton of stuff and people love it. So keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
Thank you, Chris. Next is Recreation Coordinator report. Nevada, please.
Good evening, Council. I just want to highlight a couple things out of my report. The recreation summer student that we got to have this summer was an asset to us and all the volunteer committees. He was the person that could do a little bit of both in office stuff, and he really loved working with the committees, so that took a lot of pressure off the Public Works Department when little requests came up. So I'm hoping that we get that opportunity again next summer and we find a candidate that's close to what Chris was like this summer. I also wanted to talk about the municipal sign project. I provided you with the designs. Well, I just want to report that 3 signs went up yesterday, and then the next 3 will be tomorrow. So then after we can do a little bit of a media release to the public on that. So I think that's, also we have an event coming up. So this year we worked more closely with the Fall Flavors Committee. So that event is coming up on Saturday, September 21st from 12 to 9, and hopefully people come out. There's a lot of different things this year, a game zone. So we have Ride Jays who's offered some blow-up games, and we have line dancing, we have a goat cuddling area, we have 4 food trucks, lots of drinks, so it's going to be a good day. Cornhole tournament, wagon rides. Also wanted to share that now that the sign is up at Elgin Street Park, we'll be able to finally do the grand opening of the park. So we'll plan for that the last week of September. And then, of course, Spooky Movie Night is coming soon again on October 5th at the Skylight Drive-In. We've once again partnered with the city, and we've got a lot of support, lots of sponsorships, and we hope that we get even more. Last year we had 450 students come, or kids come, so I hope that we get more, 500 this year. And that's all I wanted to share. Does anyone have any questions with my report?
I'll make a comment. I did see the sign on Elgin Street yesterday and again today, and looks absolutely fantastic.
Good.
It stands out really well. The blue posts looks really good. So
Yeah.
congrats on that. I think that the selection from you and your committee was great.
Yeah, it was a project that was worked really closely with Dean, Mark, and myself. So, and it's been going on for a while, so I'm so glad we're near the end.
So the Volunteer Recreation Committee of Council, do you want to say a few?
partnerships with other, like trying to work together or sharing ideas of what they do at their park and who they hire to do this. So I think it's been good in that way. And hopefully it'll just continue to build and they'll all kind of work together and try to minimize like the work. If someone's doing it right, let's learn what they're doing. So I'm hoping that will continue.
It was a long time in coming that the cohesiveness was there and everybody was working on their own. And now that there is some assistance from one to another, I think it's much
And
better.
they're having all the same issues, so it's just, they, like a lot of them come up to me and say, oh, I didn't realize that they were having the same, that's good. We can kind of share ideas of how to overcome them. So I think it's a good thing, and I hope they continue to want to be a part of it.
Any other comments, discussion? No? Thanks, Nevada.
Okay.
Under subcommittees, Friends of the Disabled.
So mid-August, I attended the official, I'm going to call it grand opening, but the official use of the new van. We had it for a few months, but we weren't able to put it on the road until it was official. So there were funds both federally and provincially given for this new bus, and the city will receive about $119,000. 40% of it's federal and the other is provincial. And it's a really nice bus. And our mayor was there that day, and Yakubuski was there, and a provincial representative was there for the official day. And it's nice that we're able to have the new bus, because the old bus was in 2010, so it was getting very tired. And now that we have the new van, we're able to offer extended hours. So it is now running on Sundays, which is new. And the Laurentian Valley ridership is up again another 50% over the last few months. So it's already being put into good use.
Does the new bus have more seats in it than the previous one?
It does not. It is an 8-passenger van, but it has more room for wheelchairs and accessibility issues. And it is air conditioned, and it's a little more spacious. The other one was very tight, and it did maybe seat more, but it wasn't as nice as this one. So no, it doesn't offer any more, but it's beautiful.
Any questions from council? Okay. Shady Nook Recreation Committee.
The minutes from the last few meetings are there. We also met again last night, and hockey registration, you wouldn't think about that on a warm day like today, but it's coming up later on this week. If you look at the Shady Nook Facebook page, you'll see that it's coming up, and there'll be from ages 5 to 16 brackets available, and so look that up and get registered. Looking for a good year.
Good, thank you. Allison Fraser Rec Committee.
Again, our minutes are there as well, and the income statement from Allison Fraser. And our big thing is we're gearing up for the 21st for our fall flavor, so that's our big push right now.
Thank you. Forsley Park, I have nothing to report on that one. Pleasant View Park Recreation.
Nothing to report this time.
Okay, Stafford Park.
Nothing to report.
And LV Four Seasons Trail Committee. Mark.
I can just touch base on a few things. Our group had some big hopes of getting our disc golf course set up for this summer. Unfortunately, our equipment was delayed, and we actually found out today that it's arriving this week. So we'll be ready for next year. But anyway, it's too bad things didn't work out. But we are able to use the grant money that we did receive that Chris helped us get. So we'll be starting some preparation work shortly and be ready for that. We are doing wagon rides again as part of the Fall Flavors Festival, and Huckabones Equipment has given us the tractor, and we will be doing that in partnership with them. And our spooky Halloween at the Trail event is the last 2 Fridays and Saturdays in October, so that's I think the 18th, 19th, 25th, and 26th, and we're already gearing up for that, and yeah, and hopefully it's working on some new things and new events for this year, so it should be a very busy fall for our group coming up.
Sounds good. Always looking forward to attending that one too. LV Fit and Feisty Committee, you've seen the minutes in the package, and they had a very successful registration day back a couple weeks ago. I did attend, and the crowd is amazing that shows up, and the registration, very, very positive, so very happy to see it. As far as the Reeve reports go, September the 26th, there is a Renfrew County Day at the county, and it's for staff and counselors to attend. You can go, and there, I think it's between 3 to 5 and 6 to 8, and staff will be there for each of the different committees. They will detail what each does and how they interact with the municipality. So if you're interested at all, don't be shy. Always something to learn. Closed session, none. Oh, council acknowledgements. Anybody? Wendy?
I just wanted to touch on something and thank a couple of staff members. Our fire chief had brought it up in his report that on Saturday, there was an Emergency Protective Services United event, which was held in Petawawa. And what that was it was all of our emergency services came together. It was police, fire, and ambulance, just for a fun day, and it went over very well. And I would like to thank our fire chief who sat on that committee with myself, and also our recreation coordinator, Nevada, was on that committee. So Laurentian Valley was represented well, and it was a very good day.
Very positive, thank you. Wendy? Or Betty, sorry.
I attended the 100th anniversary of Pembroke Pentecostal Tabernacle on Saturday or Sunday morning, and it was just amazing to see the young people and the enthusiasm in that church, and for it to be, it's 38 years in that location, I guess previously on Renfrew Street, but it was a wonderful day.
Thank you. No closed session. Motion to adjourn. Jennifer Keel and Councillor Hewitt.
Moved by Councillor Gauthier-Keel, seconded by Councillor Hewitt, that the council and committee meeting of September 10th, 2024 be adjourned at 6:23 p.m.
All in favor?
Carried.
Carried.